Hey everyone, my name is Shauna and welcome to the 7th figure review on my channel. Today we will be looking at the 1/7 scale Chizuru Mizuhara Yukata version by B-Box. I bought her from AmiAmi for around $200 including shipping. Her box was big and rather heavy due to everything you get here, so the shipping itself was quite costly. Keep that in mind when you're purchasing her for yourself. Not to mention I pay for quick delivery to keep these videos relevant, but it doesn't really matter when I take so long to make them, right? Anyway, I was in a bit of a slump, okay? But we're back, just like the anime Rent-A-Girlfriend. Season 2 is currently airing on Crunchyroll. Sponsored? Heck no, I don't even run ads on this channel. Have I watched it yet myself? No. I wait till the whole season is out, then I binge watch it all at once. But enough about me, let's return to her. Besides, you have to be in a certain mood to watch trash. I'm kidding. I enjoyed the first season, but you have to admit it has a certain flavor to it. The box is massive, as mentioned before, yet still not quite as big as 02's from a previous review. I did an unboxing of it, and everything is very well packaged and secured safely. It's getting to be a given at this point, but there are some figures out there you still need to be careful of. Let's get right on to the main show and stop dragging this out like a certain writer, shall we? The set piece itself is a charming idea. I'll be 100% honest, I did not actually realize the whole room was included in this set. Or I just forgot. I pre-ordered her well over 6 months ago. And with all the delays and whatnot, I prepared a small little space for her on my shelf thinking it'd be just her. Well, let me tell you, I'm glad it wasn't just her, or I'd feel ripped off and foolish like some idiot who rented a girlfriend for a couple of hours. Let's just start at the head and work our way down before I start hating myself any more than I already am. The face sculpt is, well, it leaves a lot to be desired. There is something overall just awkward about it. I can't quite put my finger on it. The promo images definitely look better than what I got. Plus, what's the deal with making her so deathly pale? At least it's not as bad as one of her previous figures who legit could pass as a ghost or vampire. The eyes look particularly flat and the hair looks and feels a bit cheap, but I do like this nice grading showing the red in her hair. The torso and legs are basically one big mush of her yukata. Her cleavage looks pretty good along with some well-detailed collarbones, but that's about it. They make a good attempt at the yukata. The sleeves are nice and flowy and the floral prints are good, but it just feels like a big chunk of plastic with a faded paint job. Then you've got her hands and her feet. If it sounds like I'm less than impressed by her figure, then your ears do not deceive you. It is very hard to put my finger on and find the right words to say, so I really hope I can capture the feeling on camera. She just feels off. There's something about her that really doesn't sit right with me. I don't know if it's the coloring or the pose or what, but I'm just not feeling the flow here. She comes with an alternate face that, well, I'll never display her with it. Looks bad if I'm being honest. Plus a removable arm so she can hold her drink, which they did a lot of if I remember correctly. And who could blame them looking like this? I could have done without this as well, as it leaves a very noticeable gap on her arm that I assume would not have been there otherwise. The base. Honestly, I really like it. The tatami mats below the futon are pretty meh, but that's alright since you cover them up anyway. The futon is also really well done, it looks fluffy. There's a bit of an indent here too to help her stay in place. The print on the wall looks good, and overall, the set itself looks good. It's just, she doesn't really fit in with it. You know what? Let's take a look at this figure without the base. Wow, I mean, is it just me or does that make a difference? Even without the futon, she looks better without it. I think the scale of everything besides the figure is off and throws my brain for a loop. I mean, look at the futon, then look at her. If she actually stood at full height, her legs would stick out from the bottom. Let's put another 1/7 scale figure that's standing inside the room. She just doesn't seem to fit. It's funny, I really like the inclusion of the room, but it is this very room that, in my opinion, throws everything off. I genuinely prefer looking at Mizuhara herself, on her own. No futon, no room. Look at her here on my shelf. So I paid $200 for just this? And a pile of good-looking useless plastic? Let's compare sizes real quick before we discuss the finer details of her worth and whatnot. Here are her other two previous 1/7 scale versions. At first glance she may seem much smaller, but when you hold them up at eye level you can see the scaling is mostly the same. And here's the usual 1/4 scale Haruhi Bunny version by Freeing, 1/7 scale Minato Aqua by Kotobukiya, whose review is coming next. They announced a re-release, so she's irrelevant again. 1/10 scale Sento from the Beach Queens line by Wave, Pop-Up Parade Dark Magician Girl, and the Yangwifei Nendoroid, whose review is also on this channel. Now the value in my closing words. I'm going to be honest here, it's not worth the money, in my opinion. Money's value is different from person to person. I personally see this as just way too overpriced. I like the set piece, I do, but it honestly just feels like an excuse to make the fig more expensive. Just drop her with a small cushion like this figure of Mai from Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Price it at like $120 to $140 and call it a day. I will say this again, I like the set piece and I overall like her, but together it just doesn't work for me. I think another factor that has to do with that is just the low saturation in the colors overall. I'll boost it here in editing to see if that helps change anything, but I doubt it. But in the end, this is for you to decide. I personally might actually resell this figure despite how hard I go against that. I won't inflate the price too much if I do, and if I was a bigger channel, I'd consider doing a giveaway. But lo and behold, I'm still a noob at this, so views are low. I'll fill the end of this video with lots of different angles and whatnot so you can get a better idea of what she's worth to you. For me, Shauna, final verdict, 6 out of 10. The face sculpt doesn't sit right with me, the colors feel flat, and the scaling of the set pieces as a whole just doesn't look good to me. I may be biased because I paid the whole $200 for this. If you can get her for $150 to $170, I might say it's worth it. I don't know. If you want a review of the other Mizuhara figures, leave a comment below and make sure to come back next week or so for the Aqua review, so subscribe if you want to see those. I have been Shauna, and I wish you better luck than I had in your figure collecting adventures. Bye! Hey, quick end note here. I know I was a bit hard on this figure, but I'll admit I really like Chizuru Ichinose, and she's my favorite from the show. So of course I'll be hard on a figure if I feel it doesn't do her justice. I mean, why would you watch this review anyways if you weren't a big fan yourself? Feel free to argue in the comments over Best Girl. Chizuru all the way. And despite the hard time I did give this figure, I think I will just end up putting her on her shelf as is by herself for display. Enjoy the rest of these images as I fade into nothing.